Have you ever found yourself right in the middle of a conflict where, the two sides are just so dug in, so entrenched, it feels like there's absolutely no way back?
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Whether it's like a team at work or maybe a family thing or even bigger, in a community, these divisions can feel just impossible.
Totally insurmountable sometimes.
Right. So how do you lead then? How do you keep your own integrity or even just figure out a way forward when things get really messy?
It's a classic problem, really, as old as society itself. And what's amazing is that we have these insights from over 2,000 years ago that speak directly to these, well, very modern kinds of dilemmas.
Wow.
And it's a pretty profound story, actually. Lots of surprising turns, and it offers some incredibly powerful lessons.
And that's exactly what we're digging into today. We're doing a deep dive into an ancient Buddhist text, the Kosambakkhandhaka, as part of the Mahava. And look, this isn't just some dusty old text. It's practically a masterclass in handling these deep splits. It talks about a huge schism in the early Buddhist monastic community, the Sangha.
Yeah, a really significant one.
And how the Buddha himself dealt with it. But what's fascinating, really, is he didn't just lay down the law, He used a story, a parable that was so powerful, it somehow managed to cut through all that bitterness.
It makes you wonder what kind of story could possibly do that.
Exactly. So our mission today is to pull out the practical wisdom from this source material. We want to show you how these ancient fights and the surprising ways they were resolved are still relevant.
Absolutely. They can help understand group dynamics, making ethical choices, even how you can find reconciliation in your own life today.
Think of it like a blueprint, maybe.
Yeah.
A historical one, yeah, but with real tools for handling disagreements, whether that's in your community, your team at work, or, heck, even just conflicts inside yourself.
It's incredibly versatile wisdom.
So, okay, let's get into it. How did this huge split in the Sangha actually start? It all begins in Kosambi, right?
Right.
At the Gosatarama monastery.
That's right. And you have this monk, very well respected, learned, virtuous, who commits some kind of offense.
Okay.
Now, the tricky part is, initially he thinks, yeah, I did it, I'm guilty. But some other monks disagree. They say, no, you're not.
So, confusion from the start.
Right. But then his view completely flips. He starts insisting, I'm innocent. And now the other monks are saying, oh, no, you are definitely guilty.
Wow, okay. Sounds like a recipe for disaster, like a classic case of miscommunication just spiraling.
It absolutely is, and it just shows how fast a small thing can unravel, right? It wasn't just about the act itself, but how they interpreted the rules, the Vinaya.
A monastic discipline.
Exactly. So this group of monks, they see the offense as serious, and they see this first monk as unrepentant because he's not seeing the offense. He can't even admit he did anything wrong.
All right.
So they decide to excommunicate him formally. It's called ukepa in Pali, and it's a really big deal, one of the most severe actions they can take.
And the result? Chaos, I assume.
Pretty much instant fracture. This excommunicated monk, remember, he's influential, he's learned, he quickly gets supporters.
The factions begin?
Right. Locals, monks from rural areas, and they argue the excommunication was totally wrong. Unlawful, improper, unwarranted.
But the other side?
The excommunicators, they dig in their heels, they insist their action was completely justified.
It's such a familiar pattern, isn't
Yeah.
it? A disagreement hardens, and suddenly you have two camps just glaring at each other.
Exactly. And the consequences were, well, deeply disruptive for the community. These two factions just stopped doing essential monastic rituals together.
Like what?
Well, no more upasata. That's the bi-monthly meeting where they recite the rules and confess offenses.
Crucial for discipline, right?
Absolutely. And no pavaran either. That's the ceremony at the end of the rainy season retreat where monks invite criticism from each other, respectfully, of course.
So the core practices just stopped.
Between the groups, yes. They refused to share common spaces like seats in the dining hall. They wouldn't even show basic respect to elders from the other side.
Wow.
Some groups even started doing their upasatha ceremonies outside the monastery boundaries, just to physically show we are separate.
That's a complete breakdown.
Oh.
So what did the Buddha do when he found out? Someone must have told him.
Oh, yeah. A concerned monk reported the whole mess, how it was escalating. And the Buddha, he saw how serious it was, and he immediately tried to mediate.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
He warned both sides. He talked about the severe consequences of, division, conflict, disputation, disharmony. He used these really strong Pali words like sagaphedo, the actual breaking of the Sangha.
He was stressing this isn't just a fight. This could destroy the community.
Precisely. He wanted them to grasp the gravity. It was threatening the very fabric of their spiritual life together.
But then comes this moment that's just kind of unbelievable.
He really is.
The Buddha, their founder, their teacher, tries to step in directly, and one of the monks, a wrongdoer monk, basically tells him to get lost.
Yeah, tells him to live comfortably and let them sort it out.
Unbelievable. And it happened twice.
Twice. It just shows how deep the resentment, the animosity had become. They'd even disrespect the Buddha himself to that extent.
So after being dismissed like that, twice, what did the Buddha do? Did he just walk away?
Well, he didn't force it right then, but he did use it as a teaching moment. He clarified a really key concept that they seem to be fundamentally misunderstanding what it actually means to co-reside as a community. The term is samvasaka.
Okay, samvasaka. So it's more than just being physically in the same place?
Exactly. It's about being in good standing within the community. He explained different co-residence. That means you're essentially out of sync, out of standing, either because you declared yourself separate or because the Sangha lawfully excommunicated you for, not seeing or fixing an offense.
Right, not playing by the rules.
And same co-residence is the opposite. You're fully united, accepted, playing by the rules, or you've been properly reinstated after an issue. It was his way of asking, are you really with us? Are you truly part of this community in spirit and action?
So after that, frankly, stunning dismissal by his own monks, what was the Buddha's next move? He didn't just give up, did he?
No, he didn't. Instead of more rules or direct confrontation, he pulled out a story, a really profound parable, one that aimed right at the heart of the issue, how to end hatred.
The story strategy.
Exactly. It's the tale of King Dīghāvu and his son, Dīghāvu.
Okay, set the scene for us.
Right. So you have King Brahmadatta of Kasi. Powerful guy. He conquers the kingdom of Kosala, ruled by the weaker King Dīghāvu.
So Dīghāvu is defeated.
Yes, he and his queen have to flee. They escape in disguise, just trying to survive.
Oh, okay.
Then the queen gets pregnant, and she gets this really strange craving, almost like an omen.
What was it?
She desperately wants to see a fully decked out army at sunrise, and then she wants to drink the water used to wash swords.
Wow, that's specific and kind of intense.
Very. Now, here's the twist. King Brahmadatta's own Brahmin priest. He happens to be an old friend of the fugitive King Dīghāvu.
No way.
Yeah. And this priest recognizes the craving. He knows it's a sign that a royal child, likely a future king, is about to be born. So, without realizing who he's helping, he arranges for the queen's craving to be satisfied.
So he accidentally helps his enemy's heir.
Exactly. The child, Dīghāvu, is born. He's raised in safety, hidden away, becomes skilled in many arts, totally unaware of his royal background or the danger his family is in.
But secrets like that don't stay secret forever, right?
Unfortunately, no. Eventually, a barber recognizes Dīghāvu and his queen. They're captured. And it's brutal. King Brahmadatta orders them to be publicly humiliated, shaved heads, paraded through the streets with loud drums beating, and then executed, cut into 4 pieces and the parts scattered. Just horrific.
That's just awful. Public, gruesome revenge.
It is. But in that final, terrible moment, as King Dīghāvu is being led to his death, he sees his son, Dīghāvu, hidden in the crowd.
He spots him.
Yes. And he calls out to him, gives him this cryptic but incredibly important instruction. He repeats it several times. Do not look far, do not look short.
Do not look far, do not look short. What does that mean?
We'll get to that. But then he adds the crucial part. Verily, by hatred, hatreds are not appeased. By non-hatred, hatreds are appeased.
By non-hatred, hatreds are appeased.
Wow, even facing death like that.
That line is, it's a core teaching in Buddhism. And for young Dīghāvu, hearing this as his parents are killed, it becomes the ultimate test. Does he seek vengeance?
You'd think so. It would be the natural human reaction. Right. But Dīghāvu plays the long game. He eventually makes his way back to Brahmadatta's court. Incognito, of course. He works his way up, slowly gains the king's trust, and eventually becomes his personal attendant, right by his side.
Waiting for his chance.
Exactly. And then the moment comes. It's incredibly dramatic. King Brahmadatta is tired, maybe after hunting, and he falls asleep, with his head resting in Dīghāvu's lap.
The king is completely vulnerable.
Completely. Dīghāvu thinks, this is it. This man destroyed my family, my kingdom. He draws his sword, ready to strike.
I can barely imagine the tension.
He draws it not just once, but 3 times. He raises the sword to kill Brahmadatta, and each time He remembers his father's dying words. By non-hatred, hatreds are appeased. And each time, he puts the sword back in its sheath.
3 times. To have that level of control, that memory in that moment, that's almost superhuman restraint.
It's extraordinary. Think about it. Like you said, your biggest rival, totally at your mercy in choosing that path. It's an incredible testament to his father's final wisdom.
So what happens? Does the king just wake up oblivious?
Not quite. Brahmadatta wakes up suddenly, terrified. He had a nightmare.
About what?
He dreamt that Dīghāvu, the son of King Diggity, was chasing him with a sword.
Whoa. Almost like he sensed it.
Maybe. And at that moment, Dīghāvu decides to reveal himself. He tells the king, I am Dīghāvu, son of King Diggity. You killed my parents. I just had you completely helpless. My sword was drawn 3 times.
How does Brahmadatta react? Panic.
Sheer terror. He begs Dīghāvu, grant me my life.
I'm Dīghāvu.
His response is profound. He says, how can I grant you your life? It is you, O king, who must grant me my life.
Switching the power dynamic. It's mutual vulnerability now.
Exactly. And in that moment, they make a pact. They mutually pledge to spare each other's lives. They vow not to harm each other ever again. It's this incredible act of deep mutual reconciliation.
So the takeaway isn't just about avoiding violence. It's breaking the whole cycle, using non-hatred to completely stop the hatred in its tracks.
That's the core insight. It's radical. And the story gets even better when Brahmadatta goes back to his ministers.
Oh, I bet they were confused.
Utterly shocked. He tells them, guess who this attendant is? It's Dīghāvu, and we've made peace. Then Dīghāvu explains his father's dying words to the court.
Okay, now we get the explanation. Do not look far.
Means do not hold on to a grudge for a long time. Don't let the past poison your future forever.
Makes sense. And do not look short.
Means don't be quick to break with your friends. Don't discard alliances or relationships hastily, especially when things get tough.
Loyalty and patience.
Yes. And then the big one. By hatred, hatreds are not appeased. By non-hatred, hatreds are appeased. Dīghāvu explains, look, if I had killed Brahmadatta, what would have happened?
His supporters would have come after Dīghāvu.
Exactly. And then Dīghāvu's supporters would retaliate. The cycle of violence would just go on and on, endlessly. But by choosing non-hatred, by granting life, the conflict was actually resolved, truly ended at its root.
Wow. That's powerful. So how did the Buddha wrap this up? How did he connect this amazing story back to those squabbling monks in Kosambi?
Well, the text says the Buddha was basically astonished himself at Dīghāvu's wisdom and his ability to live it out, and he turned that astonishment onto the monks.
How so?
He basically said, look at this. If these 2 kings, men who lived by the sword, who dealt in violence and conquest, could find it within themselves to practice such patience, such forgiveness, how much more should you monks be able to? You who live supposedly by this well-taught dharma, this path of peace and understanding, you should embody forbearance and gentleness far more easily. It was a really stark, almost shaming comparison he drew.
A powerful lesson indeed. So after telling this parable and after being dismissed repeatedly by the monks, what did the Buddha do? He realized they weren't ready to listen, right?
Exactly. The text says he recognized them as worthless persons in that moment, meaning basically impossible to instruct right then. They were too caught up in their anger. So in a really significant move, quite different from his usual direct approach, he just left. He decided to leave Kosambi and seek solitude for himself.
He disengaged.
He did. He went off and reflected on the sheer peace he felt being away from all their bickering. It's a strong statement, isn't it? Sometimes the wisest move is to step away from toxic conflict.
It really is. And then there's that touching part with the elephant, right?
Yes. It's this beautiful parallel. An old bull elephant, also tired of the conflict and crowding in its herd, younger elephants bothering it, dirtying the water. It also leaves its herd seeking peace.
Just like the Buddha.
Exactly. And this elephant finds tranquility near where the Buddha is staying. It even starts looking after him, bringing him water and fruit.
Wow.
And the Buddha, seeing this, understands the elephant's feelings completely. He utters this verse about the shared joy they both found in solitary peace. It's a really profound moment of connection with nature, understanding that need for quiet.
And he recited some verses too, didn't he? Gathas.
Yes, several powerful ones that really nail his message. He talked about the foolishness of those who start schisms without even realizing how serious it is. He repeats that key line from the parable. Never by hatred are hatreds appeased. By non-hatred are hatreds appeased. Like, remember this.
He really wanted that to sink in.
Absolutely. And then he makes this other really striking comparison. He says, look, even people who do terrible things, cutting off limbs, taking lives, stealing, plundering whole countries, even they can sometimes reconcile.
Oh, why can't you monks?
Exactly. Why can't you, who are supposed to be living examples of peace and understanding, manage it? It's a very sharp challenge.
A moral challenge.
Definitely. And finally, he offers this wisdom about companionship. It's good to seek a wise, discerning friend to walk the path with. But, he says, if you can't find someone truly like that,
Right.
then it's better to walk alone, like a rhinoceros moving through the forest. Do no evil, keep your peace, rather than get dragged down by foolish company.
Wow. Walk alone if you have to. That's quite a statement about choosing your community wisely, or choosing solitude over bad community.
It is indeed.
So the Buddha leaves, finds peace. The monks are left behind, still fighting. How does this deadlock finally break? Because it wasn't the Buddha coming back with more rules, was it?
No, it wasn't. It's actually quite fascinating. It was the lay community, the ordinary people in Kosambi.
The lay followers, what did they do?
Well, they were really upset. They heard the Buddha had left because of how badly the monks were behaving, and they thought, this is unacceptable.
So they took action.
They did. Decisive action. They basically decided to boycott the monks.
Oh, boycott. How?
They agreed. No more greetings, no showing respect, and, crucially, no more giving them alms food.
Whoa, cut off their food supply. That's serious.
Extremely serious. Remember, monks relied entirely on daily alms rounds for their food. This effectively forced the monks' hand. Their division, their conflict just couldn't be sustained without the community's support and sustenance.
That's real community pressure.
Yeah.
Powerful stuff.
Very practical and very effective.
So, faced with empty bowls and public disapproval, the monks finally caved.
They realized they had no choice. They decided, okay, we need to fix this. Let's go to Savatthi, find the Buddha, and resolve this dispute properly.
Ah, finally. A turning point. They're ready to actually listen and submit to guidance.
Yes, it showed they were ready. And when they headed to Savatthi, it wasn't just the Buddha waiting. All the senior disciples were there. Sariputta, Moggallana, Ananda, others too.
So the big names.
Right. And also the major lay patrons, people like Anathappichika and Visakha. Everyone knew these troublesome monks were coming, and they all went to the Buddha asking, essentially, okay, how should we handle this? How do we interact with them?
Everyone needed a plan.
Exactly. And the Buddha gave them clear guidelines. First, he laid out criteria, about 18 points, for telling a right doer from a wrong doer when it came to understanding the Dhamma and the Vinaya.
The doctrine and the discipline. How did that work?
It wasn't just about opinion, it was about whether they accurately represented what the Buddha taught, what he practiced, what rules he laid down, or were they misjudging things, like calling a serious offense minor, or a minor one serious, or misunderstanding what counted as a complete offense.
So it provided a solid framework, a way to objectively assess who was actually following the path correctly and who was maybe distorting it because of the conflict. Accountability?
Precisely. Genuine discernment and accountability.
Okay, so that's the assessment part.
Okay.
What about practical stuff? Like, where do these monks stay? Things could still be tense.
Good question. The Buddha advised giving them separate lodging, acknowledging that tension. But importantly, he said never refuse a senior monk his rightful place. You still show that basic respect for seniority.
Okay. But resources, food supplies.
Those had to be divided absolutely equally among everyone. No playing favorites based on which faction you supported before. Fairness was key.
Got it. And then the actual reconciliation, how did that happen, especially for the monk who was originally excommunicated?
This is crucial. That monk, the one at the center of it all, after hearing the Buddha's teachings again, maybe the parable, reflecting on everything, he finally had a change of heart.
He realized his mistake.
Yes, he realized, okay, I was actually at fault. The Sangha was right to excommunicate me. He genuinely came to see his offense, as the text puts it.
So he admitted it.
He did. He formally went before the Sangha and asked to be reinstated. And the Buddha confirmed, yes, since he now sees his offense, acknowledges it, he should absolutely be brought back into the fold. It really highlights how vital that genuine self-reflection and admission of fault is for true reconciliation.
It wasn't forced on him. He had to come to it himself.
Exactly.
So, okay, the individual monk is back in. But
Right.
what about the whole community, the two factions that hated each other? How did they formally reconcile?
The Buddha gave specific instructions for that too. a formal Sangha procedure. He said all the monks from both sides had to assemble together. No sending representatives, no proxies.
Everyone had to be physically present.
Yes. Everyone had to be there, personally committing to unity. Then, a formal motion, a declaration, had to be properly proposed and accepted by the entire assembly, stating that the reconciliation was complete.
Making it official and public.
Right. And immediately after that declaration, they had to resume their communal ceremonies together, like the Upasatha. It was a structured, public way to rebuild that unity, designed to leave no room for doubt or any lingering sense of division.
That sounds incredibly thorough, making sure all the I's were dotted and crossed.
Wow.
But, it brings up a really important point.
What's that?
Can you have harmony that's just on the surface? Like, everyone agrees to stop fighting, but the original problem never really got solved. Does that count?
That is a brilliant question. And actually, Upali, who was the foremost disciple in knowing the Vinaya, the rules.
Right, the expert on discipline.
He asked the Buddha almost exactly that. Is a Sangha harmony valid if it's reached without properly investigating the root cause of the conflict? Is just papering over the cracks good enough?
It's such a key question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Does superficial peace count as real peace?
It's critical. And the Buddha's answer is very clear. He makes a crucial distinction between two types of harmony.
Okay.
First, there's what he calls superficial harmony. The Pali is attapeta vyanyanupeta. This is harmony achieved without digging into and resolving the root cause.
The kind Upali was asking about.
Exactly. And the Buddha says this type of harmony is unlawful. It's just an agreement in words, jnana, but not in substance or meaning, atta. It's not real. It might look peaceful, but it's just a temporary truce, not a lasting resolution.
So it's not enough to just say, okay, let's all be friends again. You have to actually fix what was broken.
Precisely. Which leads to the second type.
Which is?
True harmony. Attapeta vyanyanupetaka. This harmony is achieved only after there's been a thorough investigation and a real resolution of the original issue.
Harmony in both substance and word.
Exactly. The Buddha says this is the lawful, proper kind of harmony. It's a true reconciliation. It makes such a powerful point. Real resolution isn't just stopping the fighting. It's about addressing the fundamental problem, getting to the actual source of the disagreement.
That distinction alone feels so relevant today. In politics, in workplaces, even in families. We often settle for the superficial kind, don't we?
All the time. It's easier in the short term, but it doesn't last.
So thinking about navigating all this, what about leadership? What qualities did the Buddha say a monk or maybe any leader needs to handle these kinds of community affairs, give good counsel, make those tough decisions?
He provides a really comprehensive list, actually, and it's striking how timeless these qualities feel. Obviously, things like blameless conduct, self-restraint.
The basics.
Right. But also, confidence in speaking the Dharma, being able to clearly explain principles, even being able to refute opponents if necessary, but always respectfully, without aggression.
So clear communication and knowing your stuff.
Yes. And having a deep understanding of the rules, the Vinaya, and how to apply them fairly. That includes knowing the proper procedures for things like excommunication and reinstatement, the tough calls.
Understanding the process.
Crucially. But also, and this is so important, showing respect for all members of the community. Seniors, juniors, everyone. Recognizing their value, regardless of their status or whether you agree with them on everything.
Valuing everyone.
And the ultimate guiding principle. A wise leader must always act for the benefit of the multitude, for the well-being of the entire community.
Not for personal gain, or for their faction, or just their friends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Prioritizing the collective good above all else. That feels incredibly relevant for any leader anywhere today, doesn't it? It's about genuine service to the whole.
Wow. What an incredible journey this deep dive has been. Seriously. From one monk's shifting view of guilt completely fracturing a community to a king's dying words about ending hatred, that amazing story, then an elephant finding peace in solitude, and even a lay community using a boycott.
It covers so much ground.
We've really explored these ancient conflicts and found these surprisingly deep pathways to reconciliation.
It really does show that sorting out these deep-seated fights needs more than just patience. It needs real wisdom and a genuine commitment to look past the immediate hurt and dig into the root causes.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like Dīghāvu showed us, the most powerful way forward isn't through winning or even just compromise. It's through something much harder, that radical act of non-hatred, of profound forgiveness.
So bringing it back to today, what does all this mean for you listening now? In our world, with, information flying everywhere, instant reactions, constant division.
It feels more relevant than ever.
Right. These ancient ideas offer so much more than just history, that core understanding. Hatred just creates more hatred. The wisdom in sometimes stepping back, finding solitude if the community isn't healthy, and the absolute need to tackle root causes if you want real reconciliation.
These aren't just old stories. They're like timeless guides for navigating the conflicts in our own lives.
So maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. Next time you find yourself stuck in one of those deep divisions, personal or professional, ask yourself, am I looking far? Am I holding on to some long grudge from the past? Or am I looking short? Am I ditching allies or relationships too quickly when things get tough?
Good questions to ask.
And maybe the biggest one.
Yeah.
Are you aiming for that messy, difficult, but true reconciliation? Or are you just settling for the quiet, easy, superficial ceasefire?